Sometimes it feels like Korean culture is actually closer to American culture than it is to typical Asian culture. And what I mean by that is like I've thought about this a lot, but in terms of uh priorities and whatnot, Nepali culture is very family oriented, where when you marry someone, for example, you're not just marrying two people, you're marrying two families. So when I went to a Nepali wedding for my cousin, it very much was that. I mean, you know, this is what I understood of the cultural process of getting married, but essentially like you finally like decide to marry someone, right? It's a very long process, but the wedding ceremony itself is you have a like party at the groom's house where you bless the house, you do rituals, you hang up lights and flowers and you prepare all the food, right? So once you prepare all the food, your family gets together with like a bunch of hired musicians and you create a convoy to the bride's house, right? So you carry all this food and you sort of like go in like this convoy that like walks for a bit, then hops on a bus, and then everyone goes to the bride's house. And then you present all the food to the bride's family. You do a bunch of ceremonies and rituals there. And then symbolically, the groom takes the bride in his car, which maybe was like a horse back in the day or something, right? And then they drive back to the groom's house. Um, and there's a lot of like cool little like interesting cultural traditions. Like they have to like uh, hold hands and walk through the door of the house together for the first time, but the door is blocked by like a bunch of children who demand money for passage. So you have to keep paying like the children until they're happy enough to move aside. Then you enter the house, do a bunch of ceremonies, and like in Nepali culture, you're not supposed to share food because it's seen as like unhygienic. So symbolically, like you get like an egg and then the groom takes a bite of it and then symbolically you give it to like the bride and then she takes a bite out of the same egg, and that's to signify that like now they're one entity, so like now they're man and wife, like now they can do that. um and it's a very drawn out affair. My point is it's like it's a big deal, it involves both families, because it's very communal. I went to a Korean wedding, man, and I don't know if you know this, but they last like an hour tops. You will be so shocked if you go to them, but you essentially go, my experience is you show up, and immediately it feels different. It feels less culturally significant. Just like in the attire alone, like this is not to say it's good or bad, but just my interpretation, right? The attire alone is business casual. So
Yeah.
you will see people in like just like a polo, maybe a suit, like the family will wear like a suit, but like people are good to show up in like business casual. I even saw a guy in a t-shirt. The wedding is very quick. Like it's like 30 minutes of speeches, maybe a quick video, a small performance, but the wedding I went to was it was like about 45 minutes long and it was really amazing, really pleasant. Then you have dinner together in the venue. But then you're almost like ushered out because the venue is booked for like a certain time period. So it's like time for someone else and someone else and someone else. And then afterwards, there is no after party. You just go home. So, I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's just I was definitely culturally shocked. That was like the first time I actually felt cultural shock. Um, and I was just surprised because compared to a Nepali wedding where like it's like a 3 week affair, you wear like your best clothing, you wear the traditionals, like you wear like the Western modern suit, right? You have like
Mhm.
that, but then there are like parts where you wear like the traditional Nepali like where you put on all this makeup and all these different things. There's so much dancing and singing, and there's like three parties. There's like like gift giving, which is like a huge part of it. Whereas in the Korean one, you just sort of like hand cash. So the wedding felt very like Western, like almost more Western than the West, because
Yeah.
American marriages are more involved than Korean marriages. So in a weird
Yeah.
way, like Korea felt more Western than the West, and in that
Yeah.
aspect, and very different from Nepali culture.